We'll give it a sec, see who shows up. What's going on? We got some people jumping on. Tonight's going to be short, and it's going to be slightly philosophical, but I think it's a good topic. God, the last 2-3 weeks-ish, it seems like somebody's getting outed for being a fake. Fluffing a bio, or lying about their past, their expertise, whatever it may be. I'm holding my phone, so give me a break. It's moving. And I think, I was just talking with Steve Fisher about this, and, seemingly on social media, it seems that people only care about integrity when it could have a negative impact on their standing on social media. Everybody's perfectly happy to believe in these false masks that everybody puts on for this, right? Everybody wants a character. Nobody wants to root for Vin Diesel. They want to root for Dominic Toretto. That's the hero, right? That's this fictional character that exists in a fake story, a fake narrative that somebody's given you. Social media creates that, right? And people start to believe their own myth. And when they believe that their myth isn't enough, they start to create one. And it can start as easy as just not saying no when somebody asks you a direct question. Hey, were you at Green Beret? Were you a Ranger or something? If you just don't say no, thus begins the lie. And then it just gets easier and easier and easier. When I was younger, I was in my early 20s, I'm no fucking saint, and embellished and told little white lies to, seemingly make myself more than I was. Before I realized, for better or for worse, my story is my story. And, any service you may have, even in a unit like I served in or whatever, you can only work so hard to get whatever deployment you get. And on that deployment, you're only going to go on the ops you get to go on. You don't get to pick them. They're usually given to you. And if you're chasing that one thing to hang your hat on, to write your book about, to make your movie, you're going to miss a lot of really small opportunities to better yourself, be better for the people around you, and have a pretty bitchin' ass story without those big singular events. I was on my first deployment. This is a story I've told a couple people before. I was on my first deployment, and I was sitting in a barber shop. Don't worry, it wasn't for me. And I was a new guy. We were in Ramadi or something. And we're sitting across from a couple Marines. I think they were scout snipers. Anyways, young kids. I think I was 21. I was young too, but young kids, straight out of high school. And those guys were leaving the wire every day and walking until they got shot at. And I look back and, they looked at us and they were like, oh, fuck, are you guys SEALs? And it was me and another new guy. And we were like, yeah. And we just heard about them talking about all the firefights they had been in, every night for weeks. And we had been in country for, I don't know, a while. And we had gone and done a bunch of DAs. They were dry holes. Nobody was home. The guy wasn't there. Nothing really of any substance. Did a lot of ops, just nothing had really kicked off. And so in that moment, there was these kids who had seen more action in the last 2 weeks than most guys I knew who had done multiple deployments, who were 18, who were looking at us and going oh, fuck, you guys are straight killers. And these kids were out there slaying it. And that was kind of a sobering reminder that whether it's a tab, a scroll, a beret, a badge, that doesn't make the person. A school, a skill set, a qualification doesn't make you an asset automatically. It's you grabbing onto that and being an asset. And you can have none of those things and still be an asset to the Second Amendment community. You can still be an asset to the shooting community with nothing in your bio to hang your hat on, strictly through mentality, attitude, and the quality of information that you present and the way you present it. And so that's a really hard thing to say, right? And that's a really hard thing for people to grasp, because people want to dress the part and they want to LARP and they want to put out these mean mugging tactical selfies and all this stuff, because that's what gets likes, that's what gets exposure, that's what gets you the free stuff from all the companies you guys want free stuff from. It's like guns, right? It's like, you can have a wall full of guns, you can only shoot one at a time. And coming from somebody who I've got a few, I've got a couple, you kind of just end up shooting the ones that are your favorites, and they all just end up just sitting there. Or, I lend them to people and stuff. And so what becomes more valuable then is your reputation and the image you put out. And some people can live with a very twisted version of their integrity is a real thing. That's sorry, Catherine was just like, no, Bruiser, it's about the truth you tell. But if we spent time fact-checking every embellished story, I think we'd be a very busy industry. You make those kids a hero. The thing is, there's lots of kids who are out there walking to contact every day. You know where those kids are? Those kids are not on social media with Instagram. Some of them are. Some of them are out there training and into it. But some of them are like the guy working the lumber yard at your local hardware store. Like the guy who's selling you insurance for your car. Some of those guys are the guys who saw more action than any special operator from any unit on Instagram. Those guys are the guys who are in like the push through Fallujah, the Ramadi in 04, 03, 04. Those kids aren't out selling their stories. They don't have movie biopics. They don't have, I'm going to tell my story about how badass I was. They're just quietly living their life. And even the most professional guys I knew in the community that set the real examples for us weren't the American flag bandana fucking savage warriors. They were the quiet professionals who were they might have been a senior chief for us, a first sergeant or something E8, E9, but they were down with the boys, being accessible, helping to set up boats, helping program radios, and letting their guys learn and then went back and are now mortgage brokers or investment bankers and aren't out telling people how amazing they were. So take it for what it is, guys. I talk about this stuff a lot, and maybe some of you guys view it as being negative, but I can sleep well at night, and I just want to point this stuff out. Like, the people who have to work the hardest to convince you how amazing they were, they're spending a lot of energy that they could spend elsewhere. And the guys who have to convince you how high speed they were probably weren't that badass and probably aren't that badass now. I have a day job. I make decent enough money. God, none of this is paid for by teaching shooting or anything or writing magazine articles. I make a living outside the gun industry. But I truly and honestly love being in front of students, and it's no place I'd rather be on this planet than being in front of people, like-minded individuals that I can work with and teach. And I get as much out of every class I'm in or class I'm teaching as any student who sits before me. So take that for what it is. But I was sitting out here drinking and smoking a cigar, and it's getting dark, and you guys can barely see me. But this industry wears me out, man. People acting way bigger than they are, and there's no need for it. And you don't bridge the gap, and you don't bring in new people, and you intimidate the shit out of new shooters. And we're becoming this incestuous, inbred pool of tactical ass slapping that isn't helping anybody. So, anyways, I'm going to post this. Who knows? I'll probably lose some followers for it, but I'm going to sleep well having said it. So, I'm Joe Dawson, Bruiser Industries. You guys hang out. Stay a while. We got more coming for you. Catch you guys later.